Gosh, welcome everybody. I cannot believe that this is what we did every week for 5 or 6 months last year, and now we're back. It's so great to have those memories of last year's ballet gala and competitors back, and it's just great to be able to be talking to so many people from around the world in the panel, but also people listening. It's fascinating to see how in some places life is slowly almost returning to normal, in other places it's very far from normal. And so we are really happy to have such a great panel discussion today with such great panelists. And before I start with introducing the Healthy Young Dancer Project, I first want to mention the fact that the South African International Ballet Competition hybrid event will happen in October, the 19th of October till the 23rd of October at Artscape. We have 140 plus entries so far. The entries close on the 30th of July. And we literally have entries from 28 or 29 countries. For the first time, we have a group of such beautiful little ballerinas from Mongolia. They are just too adorable. So it's really, really incredible. Also this year, what we started doing is to try and focus more on the African continent, the continent where we are. And so we've created a new category called the novice category to really encourage young dancers from all over the African continent to start understanding what ballet is and what the career of a dancer could be and could look like. And so this is why this is so important to me. And we are very, very fortunate to have two of our jury members joining us today. The first is Hilary Kaplan, a South African living in and teaching in Sydney in Australia. And I will give her a moment to say a few words in a moment. And then Hope Keelan from the Royal Ballet School in London. What an honor to have both of you join us. And so before I introduce Beatrice, Hilary, a few words from you. Hilary, you frozen? It seemed there. Hilary, are you there? She's moving again.
I'm here.
Good.
Here. I can hear you, but there's a lot of atmospherics.
Good. So if you can just quickly introduce yourself and tell the people who you are.
Should I start?
Yes, please.
Hi, I'm Hilary Kaplan. I was trained in South Africa and then won the RAD scholarship to finish my training at the Royal Ballet School in London, which was amazing. Then I came back and I performed with Pac Ballet and with Mercedes Molina Spanish Dance Company. And I then opened my own school and simultaneously did a degree in languages at Wits University. And then I got married, got 5 daughters, and in 1996, we immigrated to Australia, to Sydney, Australia, where I've opened my own school, and I run a full-time ballet program. And, it's been a wonderful experience, and we have students dancing all over the world. And where I've opened my own. We've got 3 boys in the Royal Ballet Company, one of whom is a principal dancer, as well as dancers all over Europe and America, and in Australia, of course. And my story, I'm just teaching nonstop.
So lovely to have you with us. And then we also have Hope Keelan with us. Hope, a few words from you.
Hi, I am Hope Keelan. I'm from Canada, and I left when I was a young little girl of 18, and it's been a long time since I've been 18, and came to the Royal Ballet School to work under Valerie Adams on the teacher's course. And of course, joining the staff, which was very strange back then in 1976, I then was given many opportunities to teach. And I was given my own class in 77. And that was it, really. I was off teaching on the dancers course at the Royal Ballet School. In 1983, I had my first of 3 boys and went on to become freelance. Merle Park, as you might all know, took the Royal Ballet School from 4 first-year classes down to only 1. And it took a long time to filter it out. I was the first to go, but then landed on my feet at Ballet Romba. So I worked at the Royal Ballet School, did all the RAD and solo seal. And in 1985, I came to South Africa for the first time and met some wonderful students there. Worked at Ballet Romba, worked at the Royal Ballet, EMB, Hasbag, Will Travel. And I'm now the artistic manager at White Lodge, which is a long way away from where I started. And I teach boys. I have taught 21 years of 11-year-old boys. And some of my lovely boys were Matthew Ball and Reese Clark. And the list goes on. Francesca Hayward was in my year 8 girls. And I've been blessed to touch some very talented young students and nurture those that didn't necessarily go on to the Royal Ballet, but had fabulous careers. So I'm a real granny now. I'm like, old, need to go. But it's my privilege to watch these young students today and watch what the healthy young dancer is doing to our thinking about teaching of dance. It's a very important, valuable part of the Royal Ballet School, made huge difference. So I look forward to participating and listening and learning, even at my old age.
Thank you very much, Hope, and thanks, Hilary and Hope, for joining. I see Brian has just joined as well. Welcome, Brian. Before I hand over to Beatrice, I want to encourage people that have questions to please, on this format, they can just send us the questions and we will put them to the panelists. Hilary and Hope, if at any stage you have any questions or suggestions that would be relevant to the grouping, that would also be great for you to interrupt and ask those particular questions. But without any further ado, but I'm not seeing Beatrice, there she's back. I'm going to hand over to Beatrice Bernstein from the Healthy Young Dancer Project. Beatrice, thank you very much for putting together this group. Thank you for being part of our group today. Just before we started, we actually said, even though we are talking about the healthy young dancer, I think we also need to take cognizance of the needs of the teachers and the directors. In this time, so much had to change and had to be adapted. Long hours, constant changing of schedules, constant having to work on Zoom, and all the time having to try and encourage and inspire our young dancers. So I want to send a shout out to all the directors of schools, of companies, of projects. It's really, really important that you feel taken care of. And if you don't take care of yourself, how can you take care of the rest of the people? So Beatrice, over to you. Thank you very much. And I'm going to sit back and listen and see how the afternoon unfolds.
Thank you very much, Dirk. It's an absolute honor to be here. And I'm just overjoyed that Hilary Kaplan and Keelan can be with us today as well. So a special thank you for making that time to join us. And it's been an absolute pleasure to bring together this amazing panel for everyone. And exactly what Dirk has said, yes, we call it the Healthy Young Dancer Project because we believe that when we start healthy behaviors and mindsets at a very young age, this leads to longer careers with less injury, less eating disorders. And when we talk about injury, we mean physical, but also emotional and mental. That being said, our 1,000 plus, the Healthy Young Dancer Project global community is exactly that. We believe in supporting all of us who are involved. So that is the teachers, the directors, the parents. Also, it's about networking with holistic healing, medical healing. I'm sorry, can you put their microphone on? wherever the background noise is coming from. If everyone could put on mute, please. I'm sorry, Terry, I think you're not showing on mute yet. Okay, can everyone hear me all right? Oh, there we go. Perfect. Thank you, everyone. So we brought together this community to support everyone at every stage and also to link and network. So I'm very honored. I can't go through the whole list, of course, of everyone who's involved in this community, but it's about bringing all of us together, having, exactly as Dirk had explained to me, open, heartfelt conversations to create as much of a possibility that we all can be happier and healthier. So we don't take the young dancer as one part separate. We believe in the holistic well-being of our dance world. And in order to have holistic well-being, that's why the Healthy Young Dancer Project is also about integrating with medical professionals, holistic healers, and you're going to be hearing from a mixture. And the lovely thing is that I think everyone almost in our group either was a dancer themselves, or actually I can say everyone was either a dancer themselves or is the family member of a dancer. So everybody has real firsthand knowledge of what they're speaking about and a big passion for what they're speaking about. And I will talk about myself a little bit more when it's my turn to present. I'd like to now go through our speakers because we have short periods of time where each speaker is present. So I'm going to now introduce Brian Awino. I hope I'm saying your name correctly. And he is from Kenya, and his group is the Motivated Mindset Dancers. Thank you. Over to you, Brian. We can't hear you yet, Brian. You need to unmute, please. Down at the bottom on the left. Can't hear you.
Brian, for some reason, it seems like your microphone isn't working because it is unmuted, but we can't hear you. Can you just check that it is properly? You're now muted. Just now you weren't muted, but at the moment you are muted. So can you please check your microphone for us? And maybe while Brian is doing his microphone, we could go to the next speaker, please, Beatrice.
Yes, thank you so much. So the wonderful Andrea Basil, please introduce yourself.
Hello, everyone. Can you hear me? Hopefully. Yes? Okay, good. So thank you so much. I'm so excited to be here. This is just phenomenal that wellness is being talked about these days, and I'm just so happy to be a part of it. If you need to interrupt me with Brian, please go ahead. Otherwise, I'll start with just telling you a little bit about myself. So I, at 5, started dancing, and by 17, I moved from New Mexico to California, where I started training at San Francisco Ballet School. And little did I know that I would end up having a 20-year professional dance career in the Bay Area. That ended up being an amazing experience. I danced for San Francisco Ballet for a little while. I danced with Alonzo King Lyons Contemporary Ballet. I danced with ODC and Smuin, and I just ended up freelancing over those years and ended up having a really wonderful experience. There was a point in time, though, where I did have an injury that I didn't quite fully come back from. So at that time, I started teaching various different styles of dance and really beginning to mentor dancers. And I fell in love with that. I just found that that was really my place and what I needed to dedicate my life to. So at that time, that's where the Healthy Young Dancer Project ideas that Beatrice has actually already were in my head as well. And we just did not know that. So we are definitely on the same journey and same path. My version of that is called the 5-Point Dancer Method. This is something that was born out of mentoring dancers and realizing that there was this cycle that I just needed to break. Like I needed to figure out, how do I break this cycle of dancers, you know, they're getting to the level where they're going to decide to go to college or maybe dance professionally, and they get to that point and they go to a trainee position or an apprentice and they get injured and they have a hard time dealing with how to eat correctly and take care of themselves. And then they were just coming home and feeling really defeated. And I'm like, why is this happening? You know, why is this cycle not breaking? So I created, here it is. Thank you for bringing that up, Kevin. The 5-point dancer method is right here. I'm going to show you or explain why I created this logo. So you'll see that in the circle there, it's technique and artistry. And that is something that obviously dancers are already working on. You know, everybody is so honed in with focusing on these two areas and probably already thriving in those areas. But if you look around the outside of the circle, there's 5 points that I feel like maybe we're just not bringing enough attention to. And if we were to take a more holistic approach to dancer wellness at a younger age, maybe by the time they get older, they would be more grounded in a functioning structure that allows them to really handle themselves on their own, you know, and maybe reach out for support when they need it, but they would have more of a foundation. So at the top, we've got mindset, which I call the queen bee, so incredibly important, work ethic, nutrition, injury prevention, and cross training. So what does this look like? Well, integrating it into schools is incredibly important. And so I have actually done that since 2017. I have been slowly integrating it into Marin Dance Theater and also here at the school in New Mexico called Magnify Dance Center, where I am co-owner. And I'm also artistic director of Magnify Dance Ensemble, which is our pre-professional company. So I have that hands-on experience of taking this program and trying it out on these dancers and including the parents, including the faculty. So everyone works from this format. We all have the same verbiage. We all try to help the dancers on a very individual level. We integrate it into our summer intensives and have separate classes on each point. There's journaling and community chats on Zoom with different dancers from different places working on these areas. We do choose greater campaigns and do goal setting with them. I could go on and on. There's so many things that we're doing, and it's getting to the point where we're really seeing phenomenal results. I've seen some amazing transformations in dancers. Our injuries here have gone down to like slim to none. I think we had one in the past couple of years, which is pretty amazing. We've included cross-training classes now and injury prevention classes. Things are just going really well. So I just want to share with you that, you know, the dancers that are in this competition, I know you've gotten to a certain point where you're raring to go and then your plans change. But that is exactly what the 5-point dancer method is. It's what do you choose to do in those moments that are more difficult? And do you sit back and be really upset about that? Or do you sit back and, what I say is, put your 5-point dancer hat on and say, like, what am I doing really, really well in this moment? And celebrate that. Celebrate like how amazing you're doing. And then go, okay, now I have a little bit more time before October. So I can probably spend a little bit more time working on this that I wanted to accomplish in that. And maybe you'll get some ideas from these amazing panelists today. So I feel like you can sit back and take some notes today, think about your wins and really, you know, congratulate yourself on that. And then say, okay, where am I headed? And make very strategic, you know, goals about your next steps. And that is the power of choice. The power of choice is so amazing. You can choose to create your own dance experience. And that is the 5-point dancer method. And I just guide dancers and parents in any way I can to offer as much support as I can. So my time is probably up, but feel free to contact me and I will be here for you for anyone that has any questions. Thank you so much. And I'm happy to be here.
Thank you so very much, Andrea. It's amazing to have connected with you.
You as well.
Thank you. And now it looks like Brian is back on with some of his motivated mindset young dancers. Let's try this again, please, Brian. Yay, great that you came back on.
Brian, you are muted there. You're unmuted. Yes, Brian, we still have an issue with the microphone. Please, can you, I don't know if Kevin told you, but please can you disconnect and get permission and give your computer permission to use the microphone. Let's see if that works. And let's see if we can get you back on. Let's go to the next speaker, please, Beatrice.
It's my pleasure to introduce Terry Hyde. Please introduce yourself to us. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. Thanks, Beatrice, for the introduction. I have 5 minutes now to talk about a little bit about myself and to reduce a 1-hour workshop to the rest of the 5 minutes for some magic. I'm a psychotherapist, but my link to dance is that from the age of 6, I started ballet classes. Age 10, I won a 5-year scholarship to the RAD in London, and then went to the Royal Ballet Senior School before Hope did. So I'm an ancient here, and joined the Royal Ballet before I graduated. So I only did 2.5 years there because the artistic director phoned up the school and said, can Terence, as I was called then, can Terence come and join the company? So I joined the company, leaving the school before graduating. And after, I think it was about 3 years, I went to join London's Festival Ballet, which is now called English National Ballet. And I joined there as a soloist. And after about 3 years, I wanted to do more. And so I left the company to do a UK tour of West Side Story. That was fantastic. Festival Ballet asked me back to guest for them over the Christmas season because they hadn't replaced me. After which I said, nope, the ballet bubble, don't want that. So I went into musical theatre, film and TV. And after retiring, I set up a business management organisation to look after people in show business, running that for 15 years. And when I sold the business, I then trained as a psychotherapist. And that was in 2010. But it wasn't until 2017 that I first treated a dancer who came to see me, having been discharged from a psychiatric unit. And it was then that I realized that dancers need someone who understands them. Yes, they may be good counselors, they may be good psychotherapists, but they don't understand the mindset. And that's when I set up in 2017 the website called counsellingfordancers.com. And I've now just created an app, a free app called Help for Dancers. And the 4 is a number 4, Help for Dancers. You can download that free from both the Apple and the Google app stores. Right, now to the brief talk. I think I've got about 3 minutes left now. What is the difference between anxiety and excitement? Because everyone says, you know, and we're talking about competitions here, when you get anxious, are you getting anxious or are you getting excited? Because the truth is that the physical feelings that you get for anxiety are identical to excitement. So when you think about dry throat, dry mouth, and butterflies in the stomach, sweaty palms, heart palpitating, they are identical. It's only the thought that creates the difference. And the thought is possibly unknowingly implanted at an early age. So let's take, for instance, we'll use her Jane. Jane is in the wings, 7 years old, ready to go on stage. And she says to an adult, I feel butterflies in my tummy and my heart is thumping and I've got sweaty palms. The adult says, oh, you must be nervous. You must be anxious. So that's implanted in their mind already that the link between their physical feelings and what's going on for them is anxiety or stress or nervousness. So they then go through life thinking that. So teachers out there, faculty out there, parents out there, be careful what you say, because anxiety is identical to excitement. So before you do your competition and you get those feelings, think, I'm excited about going on. I'm really excited about going on. So when you say that, you are telling your body and your mind together, because there is such an incredible link between the mind and the body. You are telling your mind and your body together that you're excited. Leave it at that, because that is the essence of it all. It's the thought that counts. Now, real anxiety comes from a trauma, a real trauma or traumatic events. But what you're experiencing before going on stage in a competition, a performance, an audition, anything like that, is probably excitement, except you're telling yourself it's anxiety. And anxiety is usually created by the thoughts, usually, just generally speaking, what if? Those two words, what if? So when you think about it, what if I forget the choreography? What if my shoe falls off? You're creating a thought. You're creating a reality. Our thoughts create realities. So be careful how you think. Think positively. Think about yourself in a positive way. Don't speak to yourself as in, oh, I'm rubbish, I'm no good, I can't do this. Speak to yourself as if you were speaking kindly to a young person. So remember, be good to yourself, think positively, and be excited. Any questions you have about that can be left, and I will answer them later. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you very much, Terry. I'm sure we all can relate to everything you said, and I am super excited about this Wellbeing panel. Even though we're having slight technical difficulties, I would like to make sure that Brian is represented. So is it possible, please, to run his media next? Or if you need a few more moments, looks like they're on it. Perfect. And if you just unmute, please. Sorry. There we go. Is there any media, please, for the sound?
We are going to try it again. Let's see how it goes.
Thank you very much.
Still no sound. Wait. Well, while we're watching it, we don't have the sound at the moment, but these are the dances from Brian. So I don't know, Beatrice, if you have anything you would like to say about these dancers, because sometimes it's also good to know who they are and what they are. So I don't know if you have more information about them.
I just pulled up that information to help Brian, and I know in his heart he wanted so much to be here, and I'm just so sorry. Sometimes in that area, they do have technical difficulties. So Brian was born in the village in Siaya County. The poverty level in his background pushed his parents to visit the city to search for greener pastures. That is Nairobi, Kenya. He attended several primary schools, and due to school fees and challenges, he went on to go to several different schools, including the Better Life Academy, Highview Academy, and a nice list. I'm going to make it short so we get to about his project. He was educated through a scholarship by a well-wisher in the USA, and that was a month before he sat for his final high school examination. He was so inspired that he decided to go to college, where he did his diploma in information communication and technology. And in his third year on campus, he developed interests for young dancers and started mentoring kids in the local slums. And that's where his journey began with Motivated Mindset Dancers. He's been self-relying and on his parents to grow the project. And from speaking with Brian, what I understand, and I hope I'm representing you correctly, is that he teaches his dancers that by having a positive, motivated mindset, even in the face of extreme difficulty, that they can use dance to empower themselves, to lift themselves up, to lift each other up. And they were just the winners of the Africa Kids Awards. And so he's doing amazing work. And let's just please take a moment to applaud for his motivated mindset young dancers. Thank you.
Thanks. And that's really, really, really great. Thank you very much. And I'm really, really sorry, Brian, that we don't have you to be able to say a few words. While we are probably now going to be saying goodbye to some of you, I want to first also just acknowledge some people. We have people from Uganda, from Kenya, from Namibia, from South Africa. Some of the professional dancers in the company in Johannesburg are here. Former South African dancing with the National Ballet of Canada. And one of our other panelists, Tanya Howard, says, I love Terry. So it's really great. Tara van Eck from Namibia says, love Terry as well. Oh, Tanya Howard said, the world needs more Terrys. And that's really, really great. We have Alison Folk saying, invaluable conversations. Thanks, Terry and all. So really, really great to have these people watching from all over, joining us. And everybody, we have one of our other jury members, Alison Hendricks, from Dance for All in Cape Town, who will be part of our panel on inclusivity and diversity and breaking down barriers of entry, saying, keep going, Brian, because the work that I'm agreeing with her, and I'm saying the work that you are doing is so important. And again, what is so important for all of us is the fact that we include more and more Africa, and that we create a space for young Black dancers to be able to say, I want to, I can. A very dear friend, Kelsey Middleton, is watching, one of the directors of a very beautiful company in South Africa, KMAD. So nice to have her here. So I don't know, Hope and Hilary, if you have any questions to any of our panelists before we say goodbye to Andrea and Terry, or any comments on what they have said, because some
Terry,
of these things we know, and it's just great to have them reinforced. My apologies.
Terry, often with the students that I'm teaching, when they struggle, which some of our competitors will perhaps in this competition do, with a certain step, and you can see them spiral into a negative place, what would you inspire them to think about? As you say, it's all about what's in your head. But as a teacher, sometimes that barrier goes up and I can't break through. What would you advise?
Well, what I do both in the therapy practice and in my workshops, so you can book me to do workshops for faculty as well as for the students. What I do is what the Americans call imagery. I call it visualization. You take them through the step that they're stuck on, because obviously they can do the step, but there's something in their mind that is actually preventing them doing it. So what you do is you go through the step and get them to imagine it to, at a level that they are capable of doing. In other words, don't say, I want you to do it perfectly in your head. You do it to the best of your own ability, but knowing that you can do it. And then, do you remember the bit about the excitement I was saying earlier? Add the excitement to it. So while they're doing it, they have to be doing it in their imagination. They're not watching themselves. They are doing it themselves in their imagination. They must feel it, and they must be excited about doing it. So adding all three together, the emotion, the mind, and the body, linking all three so that the body registers, this is what I can do. And then the mind says, oh, I can do this. And then when you actually do it, it works. It's magic. It really is magic to see someone going through that not being able to do, I'm going to go to a different level, not being able to do a double soda bars to the left, but they can do a double soda bars to the right, and actually seeing them do it, they go, wow, that's incredible. So it's linking all three together in their imagination. Hope, if you want to contact me later, another day, do so through the website, and I can talk you through it properly rather than just glibly now.
No, but this is why you're here, so that you can share this. And so thank you very much.
I don't know how much time we've got. That's the thing.
No, but this is it indeed a good start, and kind of gives us an idea as to where we are at. So Hope, Hilary, I'm seeing you wanting to say something. I'll ask you now. Hope, does that kind of give you an idea or a question, or or does it kind of answer your question?
No, of course it doesn't, and that's what, as a teacher, we attack it from all angles, and mindset is very much a part of our work at the Royal. But I like to remind students that it's not their own little journey. They're not alone. It's something we always do. We always have to face it. And I think, Terry, you're absolutely right to remind these young dancers that they can stir themselves into a state. And these are three key things to do to get out of it. It's so helpful, Terry. Thank you.
The other thing with that, just to follow on, is that it is pointless. One more time, please. One more time, please. One more time, because it's just going to run them down physically. But by doing it in your imagination, you're not using physical energy. You're not going to get tired. You're not going to get injured. And so that's why that's important.
That visualization process is what Alicia Alonso used to do when she was kind of having to decide whether she was going to give up, and she was lying in her bed. She would go through every day her solos, every day through her preparation, so that when she got up, she was there. So I love what you are saying, Terry, and I love your 5 points, Lisa. Hilary, you have a question. Hilary, you're still on mute, Hilary. There we go.
Can you hear me, Terry? Yeah.
Yes, I can hear you.
I just want to say, I believe I teach the way you are talking. So, I just always say to the students, you've got nothing to lose. Be excited. Look at this wonderful privilege you have to be able to be dancing. What can happen to you? Just go up there. And as you say, if they are well prepared, of course, things can go wrong, but they can go up there and feel positive about themselves. And I think the most important thing with a dancer is they should love themselves. They should like themselves and feel that they've got something to offer and be proud of what they've got. Too often dancers do not believe in themselves. They always think the next person is better. And I think that pulls them down.
And I think the other thing that I talk about in my work is that every one of you looking at, look around and catch their eyes, every you is unique. So I'm looking at you now. All of you are all unique. You are all each of you has their own attributions. So you're all good at something. You can't be good at everything, because when you look at some of the principal dancers who are guesting around the world, you can't necessarily call them perfect. They adjust the solos, the pas de deux, to what they can do. They're not going to show what they can't do. And so when you see these performances, yes, they're brilliant, but realize that not everybody can do everything. And keep that in mind. None of you are going to be perfect, and you can't compare yourself to anyone else because you are unique.
Thank you
you.
so much.
Exactly.
Andrea, do you have anything to say before we're going to be saying goodbye to you and Terry?
Sure. That is all just fantastic advice. Thank you so much. I'll go ahead and just add in a little tool that I use sometimes. I've been talking about with students on my community chat forum, which is like an idea of a pause button. because I see that too, where students start to spiral down and you see them retreat and get very upset. And it can be uncomfortable in the classroom setting because you don't want to bring attention to it. You don't want to call them out, you know. But in talking with them outside of class, I've been able to talk about this pause button analogy is like put on a pause button for a minute and say, where am I at mentally? Is it helping me? You know, what is your mindset saying to you right now? Is it productive? You know, if what you're thinking right now is not productive, then divert that. You know, think about what the teacher's actually trying to give you. You're not, if you're in that mindset, you're not taking the corrections in either, right? So find a different way to get your mindset to, like we're saying, in a more positive light. But sometimes it's just that pause button awareness of like, wait, where am I at right now? And let me reassess and, you know, try it again in a different way. So I think that that's been helping some of the younger dancers that I've been working with. So that's just my little tidbit on this conversation. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. And we're going to say goodbye to Andrea and Terry. But before you go, I just want to quickly say there's a young competitor from Natal and KwaZulu-Natal was one of the provinces that in this last week of heavy protests and lootings was so heavily impacted on. So the fact that she is able to get, and she said, such an incredible and valuable information shared. So thank you very much, you guys. Really, really happy to have you with us, and hope that more people will stay connected to you off screen and make contact with you. Thanks, Terry and Andrea.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
So that's really, really great. And it's great to see these people really have an impact on our people. So we're just trying to get Lisa in. Lisa is in, and we have Tomor in. And then we have Simone in. So welcome, you guys. Nice to have you with us. Andrea, do your thing, please.
So thank you very much, everyone, for being here. If it's possible, please, if Gifty Enright could also be allowed on, because I know she has a private client at 4 o'clock. So if we're going to hear from her, Kevin, she needs to come in now and go next, please. So while we're waiting a few moments, I will please go to Tomar Kokona. But if Gifty comes on, maybe we'll do a split, because she's the one who's talking specifically for parents. So thank you.
That's fine. Hi, Beatrice. Can you hear me? Yes. Hi, everyone. It's wonderful being here with you. I'm going to talk today about something that we talk very little or almost nothing, never, within our dance schools. And this is not a critic for any dance teachers or anybody, but I've been in the industry from the age of 3, so I've lived over half a century in this world, and I've traveled the whole globe. And so what I'm going to be talking today is based on pure experience. Over 35 years as a ballet and contemporary dancer, I've worked with English National Opera, with Spanish Ballet, with many renowned institutions across the globe. So I guess I know one thing or two of what we will be talking today about. So it's a little bit, as I said, it's a little bit a provocation more than anything else. But if you look beyond the provocation, please listen to what I'm talking about. And the reason I'm raising this issue, especially for ballet dancers or all the dancers in general, is something that I'm passionate about. And I'm very pleased that in the fact that somebody from South Africa is really connecting all of us, is bringing us all together, is bringing this community. So finally we can talk and exchange experiences, exchange ideas, and bring what we've learned throughout these years. I will try to share my screen if I can. I haven't tried this StreamYard before, but bear with me just a second. Share screen.
Sorry, Tomar, while you're working on that, I apologize, but Gifty has a private client at 4 o'clock. So could she start now while you do the screen share, and then we'll go right back to yours?
No, she can start straight away, because I would like to start and finish with my presentation. So go ahead.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay.
We've actually just lost Gift. So actually, let's continue with Timur, and then let's quickly get Gift after that, because we'll have 15 minutes. So
Okay.
she's back. Sorry, Timur.
Okay. I'm not
Gift
sure.
is coming in. So sorry, we have Gift. Sorry, Gift. Hi, Gift, and welcome.
Hello, hello.
Thank you, Gifty and Right.
All right, okay. So hopefully you can hear me clearly.
Yes, very clearly. Thanks, Gifty.
Okay, fantastic. So my name is Gifty Enright. I am an author, speaker, and also a coach, and I specialize in mothers, particularly working mothers. And so today what I want to talk about is for the mothers, for these dancers, or basically whoever their primary carer is, just for you to understand that your self-care is your self-care. So normally what happens is that because we're prioritizing the child, we put our life on hold and we're there fully to support the child. But you need to remember that you cannot pour from an empty cup. So if you're not taking care of yourself, then you risk being unavailable to the child when they need you. And sometimes people feel that, you know, not taking care of themselves is the best thing to do. And that they need to just focus on the child. But let's say you're missing a doctor's appointment when you, the parent, is supposed to go and take care of yourself and you don't. Chances are when the child is about to get on stage and perform when they need you, that is when illness takes you out and you will not be there to support your child. So you need to understand that your self-care is the child's self-care, and that is what allows you to be available when they need you. And you need to value your child's contribution. Now, you might think that being there for your child and ferrying them everywhere they need to go means that you're valuing their contribution. That is not necessarily the case. You need to know that your role is a supporting role. You are not the lead actor or actress in this case, and that your role is as a supporting role for the child, and the child has got their own gifts, and you have to be confident in their abilities, because when you're not confident in their abilities, they sense that, and that makes them doubt themselves. So you, the parent, need to understand you are not the leading act, you are in a supporting role. And then this is all about the child that you are supporting. And back to my first point, you have to take care of yourself to be able to support the child. And then I also want to talk about well-being, and your well-being being truly holistic. And now I think a lot of people understand the mind-body connection. I think this goes back to what one of the previous speakers was talking about, in terms of if a teacher can't get the child to do, you know, a certain technique, starting visualization and that sort of. So, and the whole element where most people tend to focus is just one aspect of it. And you need the mental element as well. So the mental element is literally the knowledge side of things, is what you're putting inside your head, if you like, about any particular issue. So knowing, finding the right relevant information to fill your head with and to fill your child's head with. So it's not enough just them practicing the physical aspect of things. And then there's the emotional aspect of things. So, and these days everybody knows that mindset is a big deal, because if you don't have the right mindset, you can doubt yourself and it can take you out, really. So it is understanding your mindset, and what drives those mindset is actually your beliefs, and your beliefs are firmly rooted in the spiritual framework, the spiritual construct that people tend to use. So it is important to have the right mindset, which affects emotions, and your emotions actually affect how you perform physically and how you show up physically. And those emotions are driven by your beliefs, and your beliefs are rooted, if you like, in your spiritual work. So you have to be holistic is the only way in terms of looking after your well-being truly. And you have to take care of the physical, the mental, the emotional, and spiritual. And last but not the least, just so I can respect everybody's time, is about managing your energies. It is about energy management. And so it's things like resting, for example. So there is no point in staying up all night worrying when you've got a big show the next day, because people think that the rest is not part of it, but it is actually part of the discipline. It is, believe it or not, part of the dance, because once you're truly rested, then you have access to all the different parts of yourself. Whereas if you're not managing your rest, for example, then you're all over the place, you're tired, you're not thinking clearly, you tend to panic when there's no need to panic. You know, you can't really perspective and see the wood for the trees. So looking after your energy, so making sure you sleep when you're supposed to be sleeping, you exercise when you're supposed to be exercising, you eat when you're supposed to be eating, everything in its own time is what contributes to your well-being and allows you to fire on all cylinders. So that was all I wanted to talk about. I hope you found this helpful. Thank you.
Indeed, and I think, and before you introduce tomorrow, or we go back to tomorrow again, I think we spoke about the dancers and we spoke about the teachers and the directors, but it's such an important role, the mother. And I think the survival of ballet in so many instances is because of the mother, not just for ferrying and taking care of the kids, but it's that pushy mom that has helped fundraise, that has gotten the kid to the school, that has gotten all of those things. So thank you very much for honoring the parent, because I think it's a very important. I always say there's three parts. It's the dancer, the teacher, and the parent that makes ballet. So thank you so much, Gifty.
Thanks.
Thank you so much, Gifty, for your time. I really appreciate that you fit us into your busy schedule. And if anyone has any further questions, can you please just say your website before you log off?
So, sorry. So my website is giftyandright.com. So if you go on there, you'll read about me.
I think what I would love to do, Andrea, is that at the end of this, if we can have a list of all the contributors' websites, we can post it also on the SAIBC Facebook page, so that we can definitely share it, because your contribution, all of you, has been so beautiful. And I definitely want people to have access to what it is that you are doing. So thank you very much, Gifty, and good luck with your client now.
Dirk, I have a question for Gifty. And I think it goes for Terry and everybody else. We see quite often, I mean, I'm one of the people who started ballet in the 1970s. And we, although the world of ballet has changed and has moved quite a lot, the pedagogy has also moved and has improved. We see in and out every day some methodologies which, in a very stealthy way, inculcate insecurity in ballet world, especially what Gifty was talking about, inculcating the positivity even with our energy and our behavior. So what advice would you give to ballet teachers across the globe about really finding the talent, finding the passion and enhancing it, instead of really trying to make the child do what the teacher wants to?
Well, Okay.
Did you hear me?
So for me, if I may talk to that, yes. I think I caught the bit of the question. Yeah. And if I may speak to that, talking about the child doing what the teacher wants them to do, for me, everything starts with their self-belief. The child needs to believe in themselves. And if even you put the dance thing to one side, it's that sense of self and them knowing that they matter no matter what. Right? Whether they can dance or not, it doesn't matter. They matter no matter what. And normally it falls down to parents to foster that sense of belief in the child. Because once the child gets that influences their mindset. That is what makes them feel invincible. And that is what makes them feel that whatever the step is, show me, listen, I'm going to have a crack at it. And whether I do it well or not is neither here nor there. I'm just going to go for it. And that sort of going for it attitude comes from a healthy sense of self. And so with the teachers, it's always about focusing on making the child feel that whatever they do, if you like, they are okay and that their sense of self is fine. They might not do the step right. So you are, when it comes to feedback, you are critiquing the step, but not the child. So critiquing the technique, and it's always important to actually have that difference, do you know, so that the sense of self always stays intact, whether they're doing the step right or not. And it's always from that positive place, because nothing positive ever comes from a negative place. So if they get negative and start getting down on themselves, they're not going to be in the place of wanting to have a go at it. So for the teacher, it's always the child's sense of self needs to be protected, and then we attack the step itself.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Gifty. Appreciate your time once again. And now we will go back to you, Tamar. Thank you so much for being understanding.
Okay, I will have a go again to see if I can share the screen. And Beatrice, just let me know if you see my screen or not. Window there. Can you see it?
Not yet, unfortunately.
All right. Obviously, it's not working. So let's try stop sharing. I'll try again.
Okay, it showed sharing, but many different pages, Tamar.
I see. Entire screen, Chrome tab. I think I have. Yes. How about that now?
Unfortunately,
is this better?
It's coming. Yes. But we can see your bar on the perfect now.
Okay. So you can see the full screen, yeah? I can see you here on the side. Perfect. Okay. Well, as I was saying before, I practically today I'm going to be talking to you guys about a sort of a provocative concept, the 3 truths of successful artists you will not learn at school. And I am generalizing here, of course, because throughout my career, as I said, over 35 years as a professional dancer and later on as a leader in the creative industries, I have come across a few very, very wise teachers and mentors who actually taught me some of these truths. So then what I've done, I just brought these things together. And as we're talking about ballet and dance generally, and this is very close to my heart, I studied ballet at the age of 3. I graduated from the Russian style ballet school, Vaganova style, which many of you might know it. And later on, I became a professional dancer for the Albanian National Ballet. I became the second in charge choreographer for Albanian National Ballet at the age of 25. And as it happened during the communist system, I defected in a very similar way to Rudolf Nureyev. I escaped at 2 o'clock in the morning in Spain in a tour with our national ballet company with only $110 in my pocket. No languages, nothing, but I believed in ballet, I believed in dance. And here I am after, 3 decades working and having really gotten so much of dance and ballet. But throughout all of my career, I've learned a few truths, and these were painful initially. But the most important thing is that we have to learn about our truths. This has set me on a journey to support and help other artists on not to go through the journey that I went, possibly. So here I'm going to talk about the 3 truths. The first truth is that in dance, or if we talk about dance, I believe that every single human being, it's a dancer. Dance is one of the most powerful vehicles and ways that human can express themselves. I don't need to talk to you guys here and to convert already the people who have been converted. But we got, what I understand, we have 3 types of people involved in dance, as I call them, dance humans. The first one is the casual and observing dancers. So we may call them the spectator or hobby seekers. So they can come into a party, they jump in a club, they jump in dancing weddings and so on, but they just stay far away. Yet they are people, they are dance humans. The second group are the passionate and active, engaged dance humans. We may call them the avid dance lovers or active practitioners. Here we have the vast army of our students who start at a very early age. They love it, but we all know it. The truth is that not all of them are going to become the third group of dancers, which I call them the experts. Please take the word expert with a pinch of salt, with a small e. The reason I'm saying that, because we can become experts and we don't have to really compartmentalize ourselves that somebody is better or somebody is worse. But I put this just for the purpose of us to understand. So they encapsulate all of the above, which means they go into parties, they can't really stay still, they are restless, they give their contribution to the community, but they have chosen, they've decided to make this profession, to dancing to be their passion in life, but also to have it as a profession. So I'm a London-based performing arts business consultant, coach and mentor with a background in international arts, practitioner specializing in theatre, movement and choreography. My career spans over 3 decades, and I use this wealth and my academic studies to really impart and help all of the artists in the performing arts. I have worked with renowned cultural institutions in top tiers leadership roles, starting from English National Opera to Classical Ballet Madrid, Spanish Television, Teatro di Roma in Spain, Albanian National Ballet, Chelsea Cadogan Hall, Wembley Arena, and so on. So I would jump very quickly to the 3 truths that I found that we don't learn at school. The first truth is that successful arts is successful business. Creativity meets enterprise. Enterprise, when channeled correctly, will create a prosperous business. Some people struggle to see this as a happy union, but business is not a dirty word. Successful theater is business. Design is business. Film, music, dance. For any to succeed, a professional, effective business outlook is essential. I found this truth to be very important. I was working with a charitable institution in the UK. They are one of the largest charitable institutions, and they do this amazing, amazing work. And yet, if you see their budget, the yearly budget, only a very small fraction of their budget was investing into how to train, how to inform and educate every single artist on adapting the 21st century mindset. So, for example, they do have this amazing Healthy Dancers program. So over half of their yearly budget was for Healthy Dancers program. Now, the question was this. Of course, we need to help dancers, as Terry was talking about mental health, about physical health, about injuries, about raising them, of understanding their bodies. But don't we also have to help dancers to understand they need to earn? They need to have a job first before they can get injured. Of course, I know this is very provocative, as I said, but as we all see across the globe, loads of institutions, loads of dance schools either invite a so-called experienced choreographer or dancers to talk for 1 or 2 hours in a 1 year. How is the world out there? And then everything else is based on more pirouettes, more lighting, more costumes, and so on. So this is the first truth. Successful arts is successful business. So if we don't have successful business mindset, we can't exist. The second truth, successful art is value exchange. In the pure meaning of the concept, when performing your new piece or showing a new creation, spectators, audiences, and viewers, in fact, are not there for you. They are there for themselves. If they do not see or gain anything from it, they may be what might come because they are your brother, your family members, and so on, out of politeness, but they will never return again. And what happens? We see quite a lot of choreographies and productions out there, and they stay in the profession for 5, 10, 15 years. They can hardly feel the theaters. The reason for it is because they do not understand the concept of value exchange. It needs to, for all of the artists, they need to first create, they create because they love it, and they need to then think how to provide value. Is it valuable for the audiences? Otherwise, you stay at home, dance as much as you want, but the audiences are not going to come in. So you need to think on value exchange for the society. And the third truth is successful arts requires an entrepreneurial mindset. Again, we were talking about the mindset of teachers on how to really approach the kids. We're talking about the mindset of children believing in themselves. However, I believe that there is another handicap, especially in the dance world, where the mindset is, as I mentioned before, to do more pirouette, to get perfect in the profession. But these three truths that I'm talking about, they completely undermine, I believe, that I take the technicality, i.e. being a very good dancer, for granted. So these three realities come after you have improved your profession. So many talented artists are wonderful at what they do. They are the best at telling wonderful human stories, showing a mirror to humanity, and strive for the perfect in their arts. Yet most of them know little or nothing about money. Where does the money come from? Sales, marketing, branding, and other entrepreneurial concepts. Dancers attend more ballet classes. Actors, more acting classes. Singers, more music lessons, expecting to be discovered by managers or producers. So therefore, my call out for this case will be take control of yourself. Of course, producers, agents, and so on are fundamental, but the 21st century has completely, in a way, dismantled the system which was very good in, well, we called it very good in 20th century, where you have, 4 or 5 different theaters, and there were the production of dance schools had more or less enough. So the supply and demand were in balance. Now we have so many institutions, so many dance schools that produce hundreds and thousands of dancers. Where will they go? Unless they understand how to leverage the 21st century mindset and also to think and be educated as entrepreneurs within themselves, to think as a brand, to think as a business for themselves. So every time I talk with a client, I say this phrase to them: you create because you care. You care about color. You care about shape and movement. You care about texture, melody, light, words, and attire. Rhythm. You care about beauty, emotion, connections, humanity, and truth. But remember to care about you. Care about yourself as an artist, performer, and consider your creativity as connecting vehicle. Which brings me to the 3 truths: successful business, value exchange for the society, with an entrepreneurial mindset. I'm Timur Kokona, creative industries business coach. I help artists leverage their creativity and business so they can not only have a successful professional career, but also have a very stable and sustainable financial life. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Timur. That was wonderful. And we will now please go to Lisa Apple.
Lisa,
Sorry,
may you
Lisa.
please unmute? We've just lost Lisa. While Lisa is away, Timur, what an amazing presentation. And the reaction on it has been incredible. Thank you very, very much, because you touch on something that many of my South African friends will know about. I feel so passionately about, is that business is art and art is business. And it's so important. We live in a country where government funding is virtually non-existent for the arts, and so we have to make plans, and we have to be creative, entrepreneurial. We have to look at how do we market ballet differently so that we actually speak to a much broader audience, and so that's really what we have to do. Lisa is back. Welcome, Lisa. Please, can you?
Hi.
There we go.
Can you
Thanks,
hear me?
Lisa. Yes.
Great. Sorry about that. I am just thrilled to be on this panel with my colleagues from the Healthy Young Dancer Project and to really speak to this international community. I'll give you a little bit of background about myself. I started dancing very young, as most of us did. I was 4, and I got my first job at San Francisco Ballet, and I was an apprentice and a corps de ballet member there. And then I went on and danced internationally at Les Ballets de Monte Carlo for a little while, and then moved to the Pacific Northwest Ballet and was a soloist and a principal there. And that's where I'm coming to you from now, is the Seattle, Washington area. During my career, as many of us we had some, injuries, recoveries, things that we had to really work on, and challenges. And so that inspired me to go on and become a physical therapist. So I'm now working as a doctor of physical therapy and have been for about 12 years now. And when I was dancing, I was inspired to be a PT because that was sort of that safe space. When you were around physios, you felt like you could, tell them everything, be yourself, and you got some great information about, physical and mental recovery. So I always intended to be a holistic physical therapist. Originally, when I stopped dancing, I went back and got my health psychology degree. And so I was exposed to many complementary alternative medicine modalities. So I use that now in my approach with dancers. I have a scoliosis certification where I look at the body completely 3-dimensionally. And I'm also a practicing Pilates instructor. And so one thing that I wanted to mention is that there's this quote from an article in 2011 from the International Association of Dance Medicine and Science. And it says the best dancers are an integrated combination of 2 talents. One is the knowledge of what needs to be expressed, and the other is the physical and mental tools to accomplish this. So I want to kind of shift a mindset a little bit and talk about the mind-body connection, right? We all know that is true and very integral to our work as dancers. But thinking of every experience that we have in life as kind of a laboratory, an experiment in self-discovery. So all of us throughout our careers, have not gotten that job, have not gotten that part, have not, won that competition. But what do we learn about ourselves along the way? And if we approach each experience of our lives this way of self-discovery, then all of those skills are transferable to that next thing that we go and do. And I think that's very important to introduce to our young dancers. So One way that I do that in my practice is through embodiment techniques. And what I mean by that is tapping into our internal wisdom for healing and improvement. So our nervous system, is very connected to how we feel and our emotions. We have your autonomic nervous system, which is like our umbrella, and then we have our sympathetic and our parasympathetic. And the sympathetic is that fight or flight. And as dancers, quite frankly, we spend a lot of time there because we're revved up, we're ready to go, we're ready to dance. We don't spend a lot of time nurturing that parasympathetic side where we're resting and we're starting to learn about our bodies and what's happening and our emotions and that connection. So there are different techniques you can use. There's Feldenkrais, yoga, Pilates, Tai Chi, and those are things that take some time. But today, with the little amount of time I have, I wanted to introduce a few things to you that you can use maybe right before that competition, right before that performance or class or interview, when you're speaking. So body language is huge. There's been a lot of research done on the power pose, right? You can see a TED Talk on it, that if you get up and open your chest, you are going to evoke some, confidence. Whereas if you curl into a ball, that body language really has an effect. So one embodiment technique that I'm going to have you use once a day, if you can, is a body scan. So, if you're out there and you have a moment, lie down on the floor. And for those of you with me, you can kind of just take your arms down and close your eyes if you like. And you're going to take a scan, starting with your feet, with your legs. Squeeze the right side of your body. So squeeze your glute, maybe even if you're sitting on the chair. Notice that your pelvis moves one way, right? That's what happens in a pirouette, right? When you take a pirouette, you're squeezing that glute and you're turning. Now do the other side, squeeze the other glute. Start to notice and get a sense side to side. How does that make you feel? Does it make you feel to have more power through the center of your body, through your pelvis, right? This is known as enteroception. So it signals from the body to the brain about, what the body's doing. And if you work on this as a skill, this body scan, you can help increase and manage your stress. I'm going to conjure up an image for you guys from the Olympics, years ago. And you would see Michael Phelps, and he would shake and he would kind of move his arms back and forth, right? So another embodiment technique is this little shaking. In the physical therapy world, we call it a grade 1 mobilization or an oscillation. It's kind of reminiscent of just kind of coddling a baby, right? You're revving up your nervous system, but at the same time, you're sending some energy up, calming energy, right? And you really need to do it 1 to 3 minutes a day. And so maybe before you go out on stage or before you start your class, I encourage you to do that. And then just pause, close your eyes, and feel what is going on with your body. So one last little technique would be the seesaw breath. So you can put one hand on your chest, one hand on your belly. And as you inhale, let your belly expand, which we as dancers are always told not to do, correct? But let yourself do that. You're moving your diaphragm down, getting it out of the way so your lungs and your rib cage can expand. Very anatomical, but this kicks on your parasympathetic nervous system. Now bring it to your chest. And you can literally go back and forth, because as dancers on stage and in class, we need both of those techniques, how to expand those rib cage, how to expand the lungs. So again, just to wrap up, I want to be mindful of your time. Approach each experience of your life, dance or otherwise, as a moment and a process of self-discovery, because those skills are transferable and you will use them for the rest of your life. Tune into that body and the image and the message, the internal wisdom for healing and improvement that you have. A lot of times we talk about what the teacher may be saying to us, but we need that internal knowledge and locus of control in order to succeed, because there will always be, you know, someone who's not your biggest fan or your biggest supporter, but you have to be your biggest fan and your biggest supporter. So practice those embodiment techniques, and I hope they help you as you go forward in your process of being a dancer. Thank you guys so much. It's been an honor.
Beatrice, before you speak, what a beautiful presentation, Lisa. Lisa, I don't know if you have come across Professor Amy Cuddy from the Harvard Business School. She does almost those embodiment techniques where she has the victory position and the position with the hands on the hip, which is such incredible embodiment techniques. Before you go into a meeting, stand in that position and feel super strong and super ready for the meeting. And that kind of just made me think of that.
Well, I was referring to her. So a friend of mine said, "Oh, you really look like Amy Cuddy. You should check her out on TED Talks." And so I did, like years ago. And I thought, you know what? It's so true, right? I was also reminded, you know, watching performances, I am now currently a mother of a dancer who's coming up through training, right? And when I watch performances now, I see it very differently. And a lot of the men, when they're given choreography, they're given big, bold, beautiful movements. And the women continue to be very controlled in a box. And I thought, wow, what a great message of like, let's give those power poses to the women and the men.
Absolutely. Beatrice, back to you and your next presenter.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Lisa, for being here with us. And now we will go to Akira Kawasaki from Houston Ballet. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. And then, yes, thanks for inviting us here. And then I'm so excited, present some of my philosophy. And then I was listening like Dr. Apple, and I was like, yes, that's what I just taught interoceptive, sense, and then proprioceptive exercises with dancers at the Houston Ballet Academy. So I'm teaching like a Houston Ballet Academy for summer intensive program right now for 5 weeks, and then this is week 3. So everybody's getting tired and things like that. But we close we close eyes, and then we try to feel what's going on in our body. So what's the weight distribution, so that's something like I just talked about. So it was so exciting to hear, what Dr. Apple was talking about. And then, sorry, this is my, I wasn't meaning to talk about this, but this was great. So I was so excited to hear about it. So now I'm from Houston Ballet Academy and Houston Ballet. I'm a head strength conditioning coach and health and wellness team. And then I do manage all the yoga, gyrokinesis, Pilates, Yamuna, body conditioning weight training classes, all that to prevent injuries and then to peak performance for dancers. So, and then I really want to talk about what, I believe this one, if you can see, I'm sorry, it's you cannot maybe see so clearly. I'm using just cardboard and the paper, so it's kind of old fashioned, but I hope you can see. So I called this is as a lifestyle performance pyramid. And then, so everything is important, but we want to have one, everything's important, but this is the foundation, mental control, and the one after another. Then finally we get the skill, technique, and then things like that. So I know this is international ballet competition. So everybody's focused on skill and technique and then the ability. So that's what they are judging, and then they were judged for, right? So that's something they focus on. And then but before they get the skill and the technique. So this is a really important part, having a really good control of the mental control by having a good body awareness. Oh, I cannot see oh, this is moving opposite. Okay, so here's Okay, so here, so you can see like positive thought, time management, and then like a positive attitude, and then behavior, passion, good posture, body awareness. This includes like an interoceptive, like a sense and skills and proprioceptive skills and stuff like that here as well. The movement pattern, the daily routine. So if we have the good control of the mind, so we can also help us eat right and rest right. So this is really important. And then something like we cannot control for dancers. So, but like they really need to be doing by themselves at home, right? So like that's something like we have to educate. We have to share our knowledge. Then they like right knowledge helps. Then we give them the option. So that's something like nutrition and rest. And then if they have a good mindset and nutrition and rest, then we finally, and this is my part of our health and wellness team, we can help. So mobility and stability and control for the joint or and the strength and the power to improve more jump and other stuff like here. So then everything comes all together that makes their skill and the technique better. So this is something, if we are missing something, then so that pyramid is gonna be a little bit narrower, bottom is narrower. So then they fall, maybe they might get injured. So that's something I'm there to help them. So I've been working for them for 10 years now, and we see actually the number of the injuries are getting a little bit lower. So maybe I should tell you guys that 2016, 2017, that's the season 2016, 2017, we had 143 injuries and 4 stress reactions or stress fractures. But next year, season 2017, 2018, we had 86 injuries, but still we had 4 stress reactions of stress fractures. But next year, we had season 2018, 2019, we had 84 injuries, but we had no stress fractures. So as time goes by, so we got really low injuries and then less stress reaction or stress fractures. So which tells me this is working for the big. So Houston Ballet's top 5 ballet companies in the USA, USA. So. And then our academy is really how can I say, it's really a physical demanding, pushing early, we start a really early time in the morning and we finish they had a really long day, but now they have start a little bit later and they finish a little bit earlier. So that means they have a shorter day, and then we try to make sure that they have 2 days off, Saturday and Sunday, to get the recovery. So we try not to do old fashioned, let's say every day you have to do this with no water, no hydration, right? So but now we are changing that, okay, so we try to hydrate every 15 minutes because dehydration causes lack of focus. 1% of dehydration causes lack of focus, 3% of dehydration causes cramping, and 7% dehydration is a severe you may pass out, things like that. 20% dehydration, you may lose your life. So those things, it's normal, it's maybe common sense, but not to dancers. Then we try to help them educate it. So that's something my job, and then I'm so happy to share what I believe and what I'm done. And then, so thank you so much for your time, and then thank you so much, Beatrice, for organizing everything. Thank you.
Thank you so very much for being with us, Aki-san, and for sharing your beautiful presentation.
Thank you.
Can we now go next to Jarrod Martin?
Hi, Beatrice, thank you. Hi, I'm Jarrod Martin, Artistic Director of Jarrod Martin Dance and co-founder of Black Artists in Dance, BADE. I'm also a dance educator, movement director, and yoga teacher. Like me, you've probably felt very challenged this year, and may also feel stressed out and anxious before dance performances, assessments, and competitions. It is so important to remember that you have something special, a gift to share with the world. Take time to breathe deeply if you're stressed, and use a deep breathing technique before stressful situations. This is a way to add space in the body and mind, which will lead to more positive thoughts, feelings, and emotions. And you will be able to tackle problems in a calmer way. I'm a great believer in moving the body to shift negative emotions and energize the body and mind. So I will be sharing a physical practice, it's very quick, which will involve both sitting and standing. You can take elements of this practice and use it when you're feeling down, negative about yourself, and stressed out. So you could be sitting at your desk, on your sofa, on your bed. I'm just gonna go to my chair now. So just making sure you have your feet underneath your knees, shoulders over your hips, and place your palms down. Place a hand on your chest and the other hand onto your lower abdomen, below your belly button. Close your eyes and take a deep inhale through the nose. Feel the belly and chest rise. And sigh out through the mouth. Again, breathing into these places and the back of the lungs for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold the breath. And then gently breathe out through the nose for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. One more time, giant inhale. And then this time, moan and groan out. Gently warm the hands. So like we're creating fire. So 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Place your hands on closed eyes. Take a deep breath in. Hold the breath. Place the hands onto your knees. Open the eyes and breathe out through your open mouth. Close the mouth. You're gently going to roll the head to the right. Inhale into the right shoulder. And up again to the sky and down. And then one more time, going the opposite way. Inhaling up. And exhaling down. And rolling the head back up to this axis. Going to shrug the shoulders in. And then exhale out. 2 more breathing in. And exhale out. And 1 more breathing in. And exhale out. Lovely. Place the hands through the side for your second onto your shoulder blades. Imagine they're massive angel wings. So we're going to take the elbows together, inhaling up and exhaling out. And again, inhaling up and exhaling out. And 1 more big, huge circles all the way up and over. Then we're going to swing the opposite direction. So inhaling up and swinging. Dum, da, ga, dum, da, ga, di. Dum, da, ga, di, dum, da, di, da, di. Good. Elbows together, forearms and fingertips interlaced. Imagine you're shaking a shake, a milkshake, or your favorite drink, shaking from side to side. Then you're going to take the whole forearm and hands and shake them forward and back. Lovely. Place the hands onto the lap. Then you're going to take your most dominant hand and going across the chest. You can sound out if you want. And warm one hand up and down the length of the arms and fingertips and hands, shoulders, elbows, inside and out. And then go to the other side. Big, vigorous movements. Then we use the fist, soft fist, to just pummel up and down the thighs, the side of the thighs up to the hip bones, and back down again, just a few times. Lovely. Interlacing fingers like a gate. Press the hands forward towards the camera. Inhale up. And then exhale up and over to the side, doesn't matter which one. Pressing through the heels of the hand, rooted into the seat. Inhale up. Exhale up and over to the other side. Great. And back up to the center. Place the hands onto your lap. You're going to use the back of the chair or sofa, whatever you have to sit on. I'm going to roll back as you breathe out, chin to chest, like a big cat. A big letter C. As you inhale, lifting up to the sky. And then 1 more of those, rounding into the back. And then inhaling up. and back to the center. We're just going to stand up. Move your chair if you need to, or just stand up at the desk. We're going to do some grounding. So taking your feet quite wide, more than hip width apart, facing forward. You're going to take one hand and then punch it across the body and the other. At the same time, you're going to let the breath go. Down and down and down and down. And then we take it up. So we're just going to punch towards the camera and even faster for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Heel toe the feet together. We're going to take some little bounces. So making sure the knees are tracking over your big toes in a nice parallel plie position. So we're going to take light bounces at the same time, then bring energy down towards the ground. So to get forward. And then shake your fingers, hands on the hips. Imagine you're drawing a big circle with the hips like you'll have a hula hoop. And then the other direction, breathing in and out from the nose. Placing the feet together, take one inhale up, hands in prayer above the head and bring it down to your center. And then as we started before, one hand onto the chest, one hand onto the navel, close your eyes. Take a deep, healing, holistic breath in. And sigh out. And one more breathing in. And then gently sigh out. Thank you. I hope you can take something from that practice. Thank you, panel.
Thank you very much, Jarrod. That was fantastic. And I'm sure everybody enjoyed moving a bit. We've been all sitting, taking in lots of information. And when we are taking in lots of information, it's wonderful to then have that check-in and incorporate it into our bodies. We've been talking about all of these healthy practices, and thank you, Jarrod, for giving us an example of that. And now we are pleased going to go to Vanessa Abreu. Thank you for being with us. Can you please unmute, Vanessa?
Everyone, I'm Vanessa. I am calling in from London today. I'm Portuguese Mozambican. I have a background in dance, in ballet, contemporary choreography. I'm also a qualified yoga teacher and nutritional therapist. And it's in that capacity that I come to speak to you today. So a few years ago, within my dance practice, I contracted an injury. I had 2 knee operations, and I wondered, am I doing all that I can or the best that I can to help support the healing process and the recovery? And can I also do something to help prevent injury in the future? And something that came up as being quite important, which I then came to study, was nutrition. I'm going to tell you a little bit more about that in a second. Aside from what we eat that will help us feel in a particular way, and keep our body as strong and healthy as possible, a few other things that we must pay attention to as well are sleep. We should all be getting at least 7 hours of sleep every night. Rest. Do not underestimate the need for rest. Whilst we sleep, but also whilst we are awake and away from the busy life and exercise, we must take the time to allow the body to repair and restore so that we're good and strong to come back into more vigorous exercise later on. A couple more things that are important as well are hydration, drink water, and also the relationship that we have with ourselves, the thoughts in our heads and our heart, and also the relationship we have with others. So remember always to build caring and loving and nourishing relationships with yourself and those around you. Coming into a few other points, a couple of points that I want to talk to you today about. One, still not quite into the nutrition moment, but it does relate. I'd like to emphasize this idea of focusing, if I can plant that seed today, focusing on how we feel and prioritizing how we feel above how we look like or how others may perceive us. So taking the attention from outside in a more perhaps slightly more superficial way to the inside. Are the feelings that surround us, our body and our mind, excited, positive? Do we feel ready? Do we feel energized? Or do we experience some more stress or anxiety? Or do we feel sluggish? Or do we feel tired? So maybe more often in our day-to-day or week-to-week, we can take a few more deep inhales through the nose, close our eyes, and take a moment to check in with how we're feeling. And so here is where nutrition can come and support us to be surrounded by more of those positive feelings and less so of those a little bit more tired ones. So a big thing that I want to introduce today, another seed that you can maybe take away with you, is to prioritize whole foods over processed foods. So whole foods, as the name says, they contain a little bit of protein, fat, and carbohydrate, but also a number of vitamins and minerals, some phytochemicals, which have these antioxidant, anti-inflammatory agents that we need, again, when we're thinking about repairing and restoring our body after exercise. Whereas processed foods, they've been altered in some ways. So some foods have been less so processed, and the process is quite simple, and they're good and healthy for us to have. Things like frozen vegetables, frozen fruit, tinned fish, for instance, or canned beans and lentils, things like this. They are quite healthy. We can keep those in our diet for sure. Other things sometimes are a little bit more heavily processed, and so they have additional sugar, fat, and salt that we don't need in our diet. So I'm not saying get rid of all processed foods, anything that comes into a packet and has names that we don't quite understand, but we want to have a better sort of ratio, perhaps a 70-30 of mostly we're eating whole foods. Think Mother Nature, the things that have come from the tree, from the plant, from the bush, from the soil, and have less of those processed foods. So just to finish off here, when I speak of these whole foods, and irrespective of what sort of diet you have, some of us will eat meat or fish, dairy, eggs. Some people don't or have some of those, but not the others. An idea of this base nutrition that foods that we should all get into our diet are fruits and vegetables. Top of the list here, they're universally accepted as being healthy. And for any parents who sometimes worry about the fructose in fruit, know that the detrimental effects that we know that industrial fructose holds, that does not happen with fruit. Fruit and vegetables, I would say, eat them ad libitum, as much as you want, as snacks, for breakfast, in our main meals. And the other two things I wanted to say are whole grains and legumes. So lentils, pulses, beans, quinoa, rice, all of those delicious things. And as well, nuts and seeds, which have essential fatty acids and also nice proteins. All of these foods will help us feel fuller for longer and make our body be well and healthy and thrive. So for all of you dancers, keep well and lovely to see you all. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much, Vanessa. And now we will please go to Boglarka Simone Hatala.
Thank you very much, Beatrice. My first language is not English. Therefore, I prepared this presentation together with Beatrice because I wanted to make sure that all generations understand my message. I would like to talk about something a little bit different from what my amazing colleagues were talking about. Many of them were mentioning the mind-body connection and the physical health, how it is important and why this is important, but I would like to talk about another layer of health. I am a neuroscientist. health scientist and a physiotherapist who specialize for ballet dancers mainly. And I was working with many amazing dance companies, from the Hungarian National Ballet to the Dresden Semper Opera Ballet. I was physiotherapist with the Kremlin Festival. I have clients from the Royal Ballet and from Paris Opera. I was working with the Foresight Company. So I think I have an understanding of what does it mean being a dancer and how you can find success and happiness in this career. So here is my little presentation. The way I support young dancers is by sharing important insights about our current knowledge of human health. Knowledge and understanding helps us to access the optimum potential of our lives. And this is also true when we are talking about health. We all know that being healthier leads to better opportunities, but I would like to add here that many of us, despite our best efforts, can have difficulties overcoming challenges that are related to our health. But having these difficulties doesn't make you any less valuable than anyone else. However, I would encourage you to explore in order to understand more about human health in general, and also about your relationship to your own health. This will give you a greater chance to make positive changes in your life. This being said, I would like to present the following scientific approach to help you understand more about human health in today's society. The scientific approach thinks about human health as having different factors and being influenced by many components. To simplify this idea, science divides these factors into three main groups: biological, psychological, and social factors. What does this mean? We understand that human health is affected by factors like your age, your fitness, and some genetic components. These are biological factors. However, our emotions and mental processes also have an effect on our health. When you are confident, positive, and feeling good, your immune system works better and your brain can learn easier. What is happening in your inner world means your thoughts, feelings, and emotions. These are what we call the psychological factors of human health. All of the factors that I just mentioned are the ones that are already more understood. Therefore, I wish to now focus my presentation on how social factors affect human health. For example, our families, our friendships, and the environment where we live are social factors that impact our well-being and health. When we are surrounded by people who are nice to us, caring, and compassionate, if we feel accepted, connected, and respected, we are less often sick, our fitness is stronger, and we can perform better. If we can experience the genuine joy of giving by taking care of others from our heart, if we can help, and even simply by wishing to help, even when the problem is bigger than what you can personally solve, this all contributes to become healthier yourself. Humans are very social, and it is human nature to be able to develop our best self when we are part of groups and teams that have positive atmosphere. It is normal that we all want to be accepted by our social groups, and we can feel very sad if we are rejected or left out. However, I would like to present a different picture. When we grow together like a beautiful forest, when everyone has a place and everyone has a different role to play, and where everybody is equally important, this is when the whole system works best. And why is this so important? This is so important because though we often talk about that we should be nice to each other, I would like to explain to you how this is also a human health question. It is in our best interest to create communities where conflicts can be solved more peacefully, where mocking or bullying is not accepted and not perceived as a sign of strength, where the weakest members of our communities are supported and empowered, and where we can really care for everyone in our group. In communities like this, everyone is healthier, and it is easier to reach both individual and team successes and to experience the fulfillment of real artistic self-expression. How can we translate this idea to the everyday life of a dance school? In your dance class, all of you have a choice how to connect to each other. Many dance schools are wonderful places to make lifelong friendships and to learn about respectful relationships where you feel safe and supported. When we see someone else's successes, we can enjoy them because they make our community stronger. When we see someone else's failure, we can step in for support and offer a word of encouragement. If we experience bullying or mocking, you don't have to accept it. We can open our eyes to see if another young dancer is sad or insecure and offer a helping hand. We can sit down and talk about problems together before anger and hard feelings grow in our hearts. We all have the power to shape our communities for the better. All age groups, everyone. What I would like you to take away from my talk is what positive changes you can make today for your communities and for yourself. And this is a health question. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Boglarka. That was beautiful. I have asked, because I'm completely cognizant of the fact that we're completely over time, and that Hilary is sitting in Sydney, and I'm not sure what the time difference is. It's way, 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 way late in Sydney. So I've quickly, before we're going to go over to Corey, I've asked Hilary and Hope if they have any comments or suggestions or thoughts that they have around what they've heard so far. I think what Tomor was speaking about, what Vanessa was speaking, should all be part of syllabi. I think many of the big schools have, but particularly the business aspect should become part of the syllabi of the schools. But Hope and Hilary, any thoughts? Hilary, can you unmute? We can't hear you.
I just want to say what an incredible panel of such brilliant people. And, you know, it's just so wonderful to hear those things, because I think that
Corey has to go really, really. So let's do Corey first, and then we'll come back to Hope and Hilary. Thanks, Corey.
Hi. I actually don't have enough time to do my whole thing. I have a client, and very, very soon she'll be calling me. So I'll just introduce myself. And yes, I'm Corinne, and I am the creator of the Mindfulness for Dancers series, which is a book, video series, and teaching syllabus, plus some free resources. And this is my little book. And I'm in my private practice, which I'm about to step into. I am an intuitive life coach and healer, and I'm also a former professional dancer with Alonzo King Lines Ballet. But today I was going to do an exercise on grounding and just the importance around, for dancers, really owning the fact that we use our bodies so much and we push our bodies in such a large way. And then we also, with our minds, we're always, you know, learning choreography, and also at night, we're kind of going over things, and we really never take that moment to rest. And grounding isn't just when you're in the dance studio and you sort of ground. It's an actual way to release out toxins from the body, release out energy that's unwanted and unneeded for the body to keep it in balance and in health. It's also an amazing way, even while you're brushing your teeth, you can kind of bring your mind back and kind of grab the energy into the core or your root. So unfortunately, I won't get to guide any of you all beautiful people in a grounding exercise, but you can find them on my video series. I wish you all the best. This has been such a joy, and all the speakers have been so amazing. And hopefully I'll get an opportunity to do another one of these with everyone. And thank you.
Thank you, Corinne. Can you please show your book again closer to the camera so we can see it, and hold it for one moment? And then also, if you can share some of the links to your YouTube chats to us, that would also be great, please, so that we can share it with our grouping as well, please. Thank you so much. And I'm really, really so sorry.
Okay.
We almost double the time we originally had.
Beatrice, thank you. I know. Thank you. Bye.
And once
let's
again,
get back to we have Hilary back.
Sorry to interrupt. There's a bit of a lag. Just once more, the beautiful offerings from Corinne are on her website. So I'm sorry that she couldn't present, but I'm also doing visualization and something that's grounding for our dancers as well, so they won't miss out.
So can I just quickly, from a housekeeping point of view, are you the last speaker that we're going to have? Or is there somebody else still? Okay, so then can we do that as a closure? And so therefore, can we quickly have comments from Hilary and from Hope? And then we will do you, Beatrice, as closing off after. It's an incredible panel. It's a journey that I wasn't expecting completely 100%, I have to be honest. And it has exceeded every idea that I've had. And I think that everybody that has been watching and that will watch it in the next few weeks, because this now goes into cyberspace and will be floating, so many more people will be able to watch every one of your contributions. So thank you very, very much for that. Hope, Hilary, you, and then Beatrice. Hilary, you there? Please unmute. Thank you very much.
I just want to say, just echoing you, Dirk, what an incredible panel with such a huge wealth of knowledge. And I think we all, I feel so enriched. And thank you so much for inviting me to be part of this panel. And it's just been wonderful. So congratulations and thank you all very much.
Thank you, Hilary. And before we speak to Hope, please, can I remind everybody that the entries for the competition closes on the 30th of July. For those of you who are still wanting to enter, please make sure that you do. And then, yes, Hope, your final thoughts.
So I'm not sure how many students are listening to this because I can't see like you can on Zoom. And I know that I look like I'm 25. But I have been teaching since 1976. And I have made lots of notes. So as a learner, I'm still learning. And I hope that all the students, professionals, whoever you are, continue to hear what's being told to you. It's so cool that people are really grabbing the food, the sleep, the rest. And what I worry about is we don't trust it as young students, that we feel repetition or repeating or working. If a class is an hour and a half long, I watch my students come in early and start 20 minutes before and not trust the teacher to pace the class correctly for that day or the week or the month or the term, because I know where we're going with my class. And I feel that you need to be open. I want you to hear what you've just heard and process it, write it down, look at it, reflect into it in about a month's time, in a week's time. If your memory's like mine, it'll be tomorrow. And I'm going to go home and practice what I've just heard and continue to question whether I really am employing what I've heard. And I think that it has been wonderful to be learning. Derek, I can't thank you enough for inviting me. I only wish I wasn't my age that I am and that I can continue to teach. I taught 20 10-year-old boys today from around England, and I will go in tomorrow more inspired than I was this morning and continue to reinforce some of your very learned thoughts about how to be the best you can be and to be forgiving for the things that you can't be. And so, I mean, I just have learned a lot, and I hope that the people that are listening to this will continue to learn as I have. Thank you so much, everyone, for even inviting me. Thank you, Chris Powney, for letting me come.
And I think this is something that's so important. Number one, I think the fact that the journaling is so important. I'm trying so hard to get youngsters to understand, to capture what you are hearing, because if as dancers we take everything in our bodies, but it's the moment we put it in our head and in our hands that the learning multiplies so much quicker. So it happens and you can revise and you can think about it. It's the one thing. The other thing is something so important that you are saying, Hope, and that is the aspect of, it was Christopher whom I had met somewhere that had put me into contact with you, networking. This group of people that we have put together, Beatrice, is so important, because it's one person that leads us to the next, that leads us to the next. Tomorrow, what you have said just resonates. I'm busy with my PhD, so what you are saying just works so well for me. And so that is very, very, very important. Never forget that every person that you are meeting was put there for a reason. It might not be now, it might be in 5 years, might be in 5 minutes, all depending wherever it is. Something else that I found so amazing is we have now spoken for literally 2 hours, 1 minute and 29 seconds, and we did not mention COVID once. And that for me is so important. We have to move beyond. We have to stay positive, and it's possible. Here we have just proven how positive it is. There are many of our young competitors taking part. There are many of our supporters here. The PR of the competition, other jury members of the competition have joined. So the impact will be felt, as I said, right now and for the next few weeks. Thank you, Beatrice, for putting it together. Thank you for the I call the Happy, Healthy Young Dancer Project, because if you're healthy, you will be happy. And so that is really, really so important. Beatrice, please close us out beautifully as only you can do. And thank you, everybody, for being part of the journey. It's just been great. It's like a science handbook. Thank you so much.
Thank you all so much. I'm just so honored to hear that it has been received in this way. It is also, even though these are all my nearest and dearest friends, hearing us all together has also exceeded my expectations, and the feedback from Hope and from Hilary, I mean, you can see how big I'm smiling. So I'm Beatrice Bernstein. I started my professional career at 14 years old under the direction of Rosemary Miles, who was a former dancer with the English National Ballet at the Lexington Ballet. And my debut role was as one of the 4 little swans. And from there, my dreams took flight. I'm honored to say that I've been a working professional dancer for over 20 years. I've also worked in film and television, and through my career, I sustained several minor and several serious injuries. And because of believing in myself and my own ability to heal, and because of having an amazing support network holistically and medically, even having experienced injury, such as literally being hit on the head by scenery during a blackout and still going on to perform mirlitons, and only realizing after the fact that I had actually had not a concussion per se, otherwise I wouldn't have been able to do all those pirouettes, but it was an injury that needed looking after, and I had injured my shoulder in this incident, and I was told by a doctor with no disrespect meant, but a doctor who did not understand dancers, that at 20, my professional career was probably over because they didn't see how I was going to get the range of motion back, the strength back that I needed to continue my career. And this is my point for my presentation. If you get injured, you need to pay attention to it. You need to listen to medical advice, but you also need to know that you need to be looking to medical professionals and holistic professionals who know about dancers, if at all possible. And this is part of what my whole The Healthy Young Dancer Project network is about, is everyone in our 1,000-person community is extremely knowledgeable about what support dancers need. This being said, my next performance after that injury was in the middle, somewhat elevated, at the Kennedy Center as a member of the Washington Ballet. I had figured out through gyrotonic, through physical therapy, through various different water healing exercises, how to rehab that shoulder. And I went on to have another, at that point, another 15 years to my career, because I knew that if I had the will, and this is very important, the will combined with the education, combined with the support, that I could overcome even such a serious injury in my 20s. And it's really important to understand, dancers, that if something hurts, this is your body talking to you. You please need to pay attention. If something is a mild discomfort and you seek the support you need from your adult support system, that can keep a minor injury that perhaps just needs rest from turning into something more serious. And it's very important to know the difference between good and bad pain. I don't mean that pain is a good thing. What I mean by that is muscle fatigue. You know, having sore muscles, we can consider that as a good pain because it's not going to create injury. However, if you push your muscles past the point of fatigue, over and over and over and over again, we can have a repetitive stress injury that comes from something that could have been resolved just by giving yourself that time to rest, just by taking that Epsom salt bath, just by listening in. So minor injuries do not need to become chronic injuries. The way we keep that from happening is by listening in and communicating. I cannot stress this enough. Please speak up. In the dance world, as much as we love it, there is a worry that if you speak up about how you're feeling, that this may negatively impact your casting. But the dance world has advanced beautifully, and I cannot share with more gratitude all of the teachers and directors who helped me and supported me every step of the way. People want to know how you feel. You just need to not be afraid to talk about it. In my last season at Volkstheater Kaiserslautern, I had a knee injury. It happened by accident. Accidental injuries happen. There was a slippery spot on the floor. I was a jumper, so I did a massive cabriole. And when I landed, basically, the bottom part of my leg went one way, the top part of my leg went the other way, and my knee was in the middle. And I was an older dancer at this point. I was in my 30s. And I said to myself, I don't want this to be the way I end my career. I don't want this to be a career-ending injury. So what can I do? At this point, I had a lot of experience from being a gyrokinesis instructor for over 10 years at that point, and I had a network. So I'm going to, again, point to what Dirk said about having your network. I knew who to call for help. I knew to talk to my physical therapist. I knew to talk to my coach back in Berlin, Josiska, who came down to give me rehabilitation technique class. And I knew how to listen into my body to know how to recuperate and to recover to continue for the rest of the season. And I also had the respect and the understanding of my director, Stefano Gianetti. I talked to everyone about what happened. And this turned what could have been a career-ending injury into a journey that led me even more to wish to create this Healthy Young Dancer Project network. I completed the rest of the season, but I paid attention to the injury and I rehabilitated the injury. And because I spoke to my director, I was allowed to modify choreography. So it's very important that you raise your voice. And we are going to end now with one grounding exercise about checking in. I like to say checking in about the weather in your body. So if everyone will please just shut their eyes. Place again one hand on your heart and one hand on your belly. Inhaling through the nose. And now as you exhale through the mouth, it's going to be like you're blowing your breath through a straw. We're going to do 3 sets of this calming parasympathetic nervous system breath. What this means is when you breathe in, for less counts than you breathe out, this automatically sends a message of calm to your system. So you're going to breathe in through your nose, 1, 2, 3, 4, and you're going to breathe out through your mouth. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Breathing in through your nose and breathing out through your mouth. Breathing in through your nose and breathing out through your mouth. And now with your eyes shut, can you feel how your heart is beating? Can you feel, as I call it, the weather system in yourself? Checking in. How do you feel in your chest? How do you feel in your stomach? How do you feel in your mind? Are there any thoughts that are worrying you? We know that when we have delays, as we are having with this competition, that you can feel like it's never going to come, but it is waiting for you in October. So use this time to be the strongest, the healthiest, and the most empowered that you can be. And if you have feelings of stress or worry and anxiety, know that those are feelings that can, like the weather, be changed, both by using your breath. And we'll do one more visualization, a grounding visualization. I want you to tap the top of your head like raindrops. Tap the top of your head. And then reach your arms up, reaching your arms up. And exhale, let your arms fall down. Reaching your arms up. Inhaling fully and exhaling down. And one more time, inhaling up. Shaking your head, exactly, listening in. Shaking your head. And exhaling. And now visualize, if you want to use your hands again, or just visualize water flowing down through your body, washing all those thoughts, washing all those feelings, down through your body, down through the legs down into the floor, down into the earth. Visualize water of any color, of any texture, just flowing through and allowing yourself to let go of feelings of tension, of worry, concern. Just let the water flow down into the earth. And then you're going to visualize light and energy in your center, right below your belly button. Energy and light. And you're going to send that energy and light like a cord down into the earth, grounding you into the energy of the earth. You can think of it as a ribbon. You can think of it in any way that makes you feel that connection, that energetic connection to the earth. And once you feel grounded into the earth, realize that you have unlimited energy of the earth beneath you. So when you feel that you need to draw energy in, you draw it up through your feet into your body. It's great to do this barefoot in the grass. And then again, reaching your arms up, knowing that you have energy, celestial energy circling through, grabbing like you're reaching for some yummy fruit that's hanging above you. Think of how it feels to be reaching for something yummy and delicious. Bring a sense of a delicious movement into your body. You don't have to copy what I'm doing. Just move it as it feels good and fulfilling. And reach your hands up, opening the palms to the energy above you. Reaching up, and then bring that energy down. And reaching up and bringing that energy down. And reaching up and bringing that energy down. And now again, bringing one hand to your heart and one hand to your belly, shutting your eyes again. Scanning through, sensing the weather in your body. Inhaling slowly through the nose. 1, 2, 3, 4, and exhaling through the mouth. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 2 more breaths, please. Inhaling through the nose. 2, 3, 4, and exhaling through the mouth. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. One more time. Inhaling through the nose. 2, 3, 4, and exhaling through the mouth. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I thank you all for your time, and I hope that these few techniques are something dancers and parents, anyone, can use if you feel that you need to change up your energy. But remember, dancers, all of you are winners. I know that competition, healthy competition, is a part of life, but you are winners just for showing up, just for putting yourself out there. And in this time of uncertainty, I applaud you all for keeping your passion going and wish you all the very best for your competition. Thank you, Dirk, Badenhorst, and everyone for having us. Blessings to everyone.
Thank you very much, Beatrice. Thank you very much again to Beatrice, Hope, Hilary, the whole team that was part of it all. It was so, so great. And please join us on Thursday for our Inclusivity Panel, where the panel will be led by Michaela de Prince. She will be joined by Charmaine Hunter, Andile Ndlovu, Tanya Howard, Alison Hendricks, Wei Wu from the Liaoning Ballet in China, Kola Willie from South Africa, Cooper Russ running a fantastically successful school in Kenya, and Mr. Ted Branson, Artistic Director of the Dutch National Ballet, who will all be part of this incredible and very important conversation as to how do we open up ballet to as many people as possible from all races and all backgrounds. Ballet is really for the people, from the people, and needs to be enjoyed by all. And this is really what the SAIBC is about and is for. So I'm really looking forward to seeing you all join us on Thursday. Thank you very much for being us. Thanks, Lauge, for being the gentleman behind the screens here and scenes here in Johannesburg, and Kevin Herter for your help, and everybody in the front. Thank you so much. See you on Thursday afternoon. Cheers.